I don't know about you, but I was 12 years old when the second Pirates of the Caribbean installment was released in cinemas. I vividly remember my friends fangirling over Will Turner and his exposed back muscles. But me, no. What turned my head was much more unhinged. Of course, I would have never admitted it at the time, but now with the prevalence of Hear Me Out cakes and reassuring support from ChatGPT, I can proudly admit, anonymously of course, that my heart yearns for the absolute dish of seafood that is Davy Jones. I understand that you might be questioning my sanity, or the very least my vision, but rest assured I have regular eye tests. In today's video, I'll be breaking down 3 key reasons why Davy Jones is attractive, and by the end of this video, your own attraction to him will have increased significantly. So click off now if you do not wish to swoon for Tentacle Daddy.
Afraid that get wet.
Davy Jones is set up as an incredibly powerful and authoritative character, not only in his roles as Captain of the Flying Dutchman and Commander of the Kraken, but also through the gradual and deliberate way he is revealed on screen. This slow build-up amplifies his commanding presence. His power is felt long before he appears. In fact, he makes his first appearance at the 1-hour mark. Before this, the film establishes his power in other ways. Early on in the film, we see Bootstrap Bill confronting Jack on Jones's behalf, reinforcing him as a figure others obey. Later, we see the Kraken wreaking havoc on an unsuspecting fishing vessel which happened to stumble upon Jack Sparrow's hat, demonstrating Jones's far-reach influence. Even when we finally meet Jones, in the flesh, his tentacled face isn't immediately revealed. Instead, we see glimpses, his claw, the back of his head, his leg, and the fearful reactions of those around him. When his full appearance is finally revealed, he is calm, unbothered by the tension in the scene. He doesn't need to assert his power. His presence alone is enough. So what? You might be wondering. Just because Squiddy Stud Muffin holds power doesn't automatically make him attractive. On the contrary, it's not unusual for authority figures to spark desire. Natalie Coley, a sex and relationship psychologist, explains the desire or attraction seems to come in part from the idolized view of the person. It is assumed that because a person holds a position of power, they are respected, capable, together, and able to contain and respond to our own fragility or chaos. This suggests that attraction to powerful figures isn't necessarily about looks, it's about the security and control they represent. Applied to Davy Jones, his absolute command over his domain, his ship, his crew, and even the sea itself creates an aura of dominance and certainty. While we may not consciously find a supernatural sea captain attractive, his unwavering control and authority tap into psychological dynamics that make power compelling. But power isn't the only thing that draws us in. Behind Jones's cold exterior lies a tragic past, one that exposes his vulnerability, making him even more magnetic. Jones wasn't always a barnacle boy. His emotional turmoil warped his appearance. His tragic heartbreak fuels his cruelty and hatred, bringing depth to his character. We see this vulnerability throughout the films, and particularly in his more tender moments alone. He carries a locket that symbolizes his relationship with Calypso, which he will often contemplate. Even the organ arrangement of his theme perfectly reflects his inner softness and hard exterior, transitioning from a gentle piece to something much more menacing. It's this tension between his brutal authority and deep emotional pain that makes him so compelling. The more we learn about his tragic backstory, the more his actions make sense. His cruelty isn't just the result of power, but a way of coping with betrayal and heartbreak. By watching Davy Jones, we don't just see a villain. We feel the weight of his suffering and connect with the universal themes of loss, longing, and betrayal. His pain makes him relatable, and that makes him attractive. As you are well aware by now, Jones is not entirely human. Aside from the obvious sea creature features, the way he interacts with the world around him is unnatural. The Flying Dutchman can travel underwater and between realms of the living and dead. Jones himself has a somewhat omniscient quality about him, where he seems to know where Jack is when he otherwise shouldn't. He's able to teleport and to phase through objects. Humans are naturally drawn to things that are slightly unfamiliar. When we encounter something that isn't immediately clear, our brain wants to resolve the uncertainty. This drive to resolve mystery triggers curiosity, which in turn leads to increased attraction. With Davy Jones, we're left with more questions than answers, and that's exactly what makes him so magnetic. His mystery doesn't just intrigue us, it makes him irresistible. Although you might not find his exterior appealing, Davy Jones is undeniably magnetic. His commanding presence and authority create an aura of respect and dominance. His tragic past adds emotional depth, making him flawed and painfully relatable. And his air of mystery keeps us captivated, always wanting to know more. So, what do you think? Have I successfully swayed you, or were you already on board from the start? Did I miss any key traits that make him even more compelling? Let me know in the comments, and while you're at it, drop the name of another unconventionally attractive character you'd like to see a deep dive on. I'll make sure they get the respect, love, and analysis they deserve. May your next rewatch of Pirates of the Caribbean be blessed by the flutter of your heart when that slimy, tentacled beard graces the screen.